Thanks so much. I'm so excited to see everyone here at the summit. Like David said, my name is Jenn, and I'm currently located in New York City. My background and expertise is in human-centered design and research, and I'm here today at the Responsible Tech Summit wearing two hats, really. So for the past year, I've been leading the Public Interest Technology Workforce Project at the Beeck Center for Social Impact and Innovation. The Beeck Center is a part of Georgetown University and is focused on ways systems can be improved for public impact. I'm also the president of the Technologists for the Public Good, a professional association for people reimagining how the government serves the public. As you can tell, responsible tech spans the gamut of tech. It's a huge ecosystem, just like Rebecca just talked through. And one part of that ecosystem that both of these organizations are a part of serves the public, and that's public interest technology. So we talk a lot about public interest tech, but just to clarify how the Beeck Center defines this is really just this new field that uses technology, whether that be through human-centered design, product development, or data science, to deliver better outcomes to the public. And there's so many ways to improve technology. And I really think that it starts with people first. In order to get to better public services, things like helping the public navigate the pandemic easier or getting the support that they need in their lives, the workforce must represent the people that we serve. And in some of our interviews and research we've done the past year, one of our interviews really highlighted the barriers that we see in this field today. So a fellow at a civic tech organization said, "We need to accept diverse backgrounds rather than a perspective that is classist or tech elitist. We should value the ability to learn and collaborate over having a technical or advanced degree in recruiting and in hiring." So here at the Beeck Center, we've been looking at ways we can mature this field, but this isn't something that we're doing alone. There are so many great organizations that are also doing this, and you'll hear from a few of them more today at the summit. So one of the ways is by creating supportive and equitable pathways into this work, like the US Digital Corps, founded by Chris Kwong, which is a 2-year fellowship for early career technologists to go into government. Coding It Forward, led by Executive Director Rachel Dudell, that offers multiple ways for students to get experience in government. And US of Technologists, a collective aiming to bring 10,000 technologists into the public sector. We've also got to reduce the barriers to entry and move towards inclusion. Organizations like the Tech Talent Project, led by Jennifer Anastasoff, are working on recruiting individuals into the public sector. And Aspen Policy Tech Hub, led by Betsy Cooper, who offer programs to bridge the gap between tech and policy. And instead of recreating the wheel, we should be connecting people who are doing this work with each other. Code for America, a pioneer in this space, has over 80 brigades in the country. And even here at the Beeck Center, I have some colleagues who created a Chief Data Officers Network, connecting data leaders across states to improve policy and service delivery. And lastly, we've got to find ways to share best practices and foster collaboration. There are places like 18F and US Digital Service who often publish stories, guides, and playbooks for others to leverage. Civic Hall, who manages the Civic Tech Fields Guide and paved the way in this field with events like the Personal Democracy Forum. So how do we do all of this? How do we continue to mature the field? At the Beeck Center, we wanted to first understand the people who make up this field, so we conducted a survey back in November to capture insights around the experience, culture, and current demographics of the field. We surveyed nearly 200 self-identifying public interest technologists and had respondents from 29 states and DC, representing over 90 different organizations. Our research uncovered opportunities to improve hiring, building community, and diversity, equity, and inclusion. Half of respondents found out about this field through word of mouth. We know referrals can be great, but it can also adversely impact diversity, since people often refer others who have the same gender and ethnic background. We also found that 81% of respondents have 3 or more years of work experience prior to their public interest tech role, which validated something that we knew going into the survey. Well, we suspected that there just aren't a lot of junior roles or jobs for our recent graduates. And lastly, we asked survey participants to respond to a handful of equity and inclusion statements. We found this statistic of 73% of respondents who reported that they felt like they do not belong at the organization identified as BIPOC, female, genderqueer, transgender, or disabled, which just shows the opportunity in improving equity and inclusion in this field. And these are just a high-level sample of the things that we learned. With all of the work that we do at the Beeck Center, we really want anything we create to be put into action. And this report includes a number of findings and recommendations for our whole community to put into action and respond to. My hope is for folks to dig into our findings. Opportunities to shape this field and the people who are part of it really brings me to the organization that I mentioned before, the Technologists for the Public Good. We are a network of human-centered designers, software engineers, data scientists, product managers, procurement experts, policy analysts, really anyone who is passionate about creating a government that works for the public. We're a professional association that offers connections with technologists across the nation, and we do this in 3 ways. We provide a safe space where people can find and learn from one another across government and industry, encouraging authentic connections that provide value to everyone. We create opportunities for people to work together across organizations and disciplines on efforts that help improve public service outcomes. We encourage an inclusive and equitable approach to collaboration where each person's voice is heard and valued. And lastly, we provide avenues for sharing lessons learned and best practices, giving change makers the ability to learn what's working and what's not, so they can improve things in their organizations. We encourage openness and transparency for easier transfer of knowledge and as a paradigm for open and accountable government. As a pillar of the responsible tech movement, we encourage folks who are working on technology-related projects aimed at improving public services to join us in co-creating this community. And I'll go ahead and share the membership form that's linked here in a bit. I just want to wrap up by saying that, all tech has a public interest. Technology is all around us, and everyone interacts with it in one way or another. To build technology that truly serves the public interest, we have to pay attention to who and how technology is being built first. By building a culture that centers the voices of those most excluded or oppressed by our current systems, we can ensure that our technology and social technical systems can better serve the public at large. My vision for the future of public interest technology is that we can have a workforce that looks like and represents the people that we serve. Because for technology to be for the people, it has to be by the people. I know I don't have all of the solutions, so this is your invite to help in creating these changes. And here's to creating a better future in tech for everyone together. Thanks. My contact information is here, and I'm super happy to chat with folks further. Just reach out. And thank you so much again to the Responsible Tech Summit for having me and creating space for us to talk about this work.
All right, Jen, that was amazing. And I'm going to take your invitation. Let me just remove that from the screen. I'm going to take your invitation to get involved. So incredible work that you're doing there. And we'll also be sharing those resources that you mentioned there. Rebecca Tweed, who we just saw, is going to be sharing that in our live updating document. So for anyone who's looking for those resources, if you didn't take it down, if you don't have a notebook in front of you, we're going to share that. And in addition, we'll share this post event. So Jen, I want to thank you for all the incredible work that you're doing. And again, and like you said, public interest. We need to have the public involved, right? All tech is human. It's us about the decisions we make or don't make today. So Jen, thank you for being on and discussing your incredible work. Right now, I'm going to take you off the stream, but please don't be a stranger. Stay in touch, and everyone reach out to Jen as well. And then we're going to bring on our next speaker. Okay, now we have a tight schedule. We're going back to back to back, so a lot of fun. Hopefully, everyone, if you're on the East Coast, got your afternoon coffee. We're just going to be bringing up Max. Let's see. All right.
Hi, David.
Hello, hello. All right. So welcome to the Responsible Tech Summit. I'm going to let you talk about all the incredible work that you're doing at the Tony Blair Institute. And I'm going to just take myself off screen and then have you kind of take it from there about everything that you're doing.
Fantastic. Thanks, David. And to everybody at All Tech is Human for putting on this event and creating an amazing community. I hadn't quite realized the kind of chain of expertise that you've got here, and all different kinds of jobs from tech companies to civil society. It's really great to see everybody coming together around this one theme from all different walks of this kind of crazy tech world. So I'm Max Beverton-Palmer, and I'm the Director of Internet Policy at the Tony Blair Institute. And I'm based in London, but actually focus on global policy, and I'll explain what that means in a bit. One of the topics that's come up today a lot is tech policy and the public interest, and that's squarely where our work lies at the Institute. The Tony Blair Institute is a not-for-profit focused on equipping leaders and governments around the world. And we do this by producing policy and working directly with governments, particularly in the developing world. And why am I here at the Responsible Tech Summit? Well, one of our most important programs is our technology policy program. So I want to give you a bit of a view of our philosophy and where we see ourselves fitting in this amazing ecosystem. So we're consciously a very political organization. I use political with a small p rather than actively campaigning or a partisan organization. But we see there's an important political dividing line in our world. On the one side, we see those who recognize that how we handle the technology revolution is the central question of our time, and those who do not. And then on the other side, there are those who believe that properly managed, the tech revolution can help us build a better and more equal society. On the opposing side, they see it fundamentally as a threat to be slowed or to be stopped. So in our organization, every day we deal with policymakers the world over. They're our key audience, and we're optimists. So we're optimistic about the power of politics to make life better for people, and we're optimistic about the power of tech. And this perhaps is a little counter-cultural in today's world, where it's very easy, maybe justifiably so, to be cynical about politicians and tech companies. We work from the assumption that there is a massive gap between the change makers in the world and the policy makers. And by change makers, I mean the tech disruptors, the companies that have changed how we live our lives, that make new things possible and old things easier. But also all of you in the responsible tech ecosystem who are building the future of responsible technology. I recently spoke to a professor of AI at UK University who relayed to me the really significant gap between AI ethicists and AI developers. And then if you think there's a gap in that sector, there's a massive gap between anybody who works in AI and anybody who's working actively in policy today and building the regulatory frameworks for the future. So at TBI, we see our role as translators and doers. We always ask ourselves, how do we make sure the tech revolution works for the many, not for the few? And therefore, I want to talk to you about, therefore, when I talk to you, what I think is, how does the innovation that you're all building today work its way to politicians and leaders around the world? So, for example, how do we translate the spirit of AI ethics and responsible tech into actionable political programs? My background is working in regulation and government affairs, focusing on responsible tech, campaigning on online safety. And I'm part of a global team with people in London, San Francisco, Singapore, and Accra. And TBI as an organization has people in more than 20 countries around the world, particularly in Africa. We also have a network of fellows around the world working on political fandoms, online gender-based violence, and the future of the internet. And you'll notice I've deliberately framed everything I said as a global project. So, for example, our team in Accra cares about tech policy and development in Ghana and in Africa, but they also present a vision to the world of what AI governance and legislation can look like from an Africa Out perspective. What can the rest of the world learn from the developing world? And how can developing countries leapfrog in their approach to harnessing and regulating tech? To give you a flavor of what we do, we have a report coming out in 2 weeks' time on the future of the internet. Our key idea is that we're pretty much on the brink. I have to say there's a model of technology and the internet out there in the world, and it's not the one that the founders of the internet envisaged. And I would say it's not the one shared by most people attending this summit. It's an authoritarian model that uses tech to surveil, to restrict, to censor, most commonly seen in the worrying rise in internet shutdowns. So there are competing visions for the future and some fundamentally different value structures at play at the moment. We're calling for new models of global cooperation on things like digital trade and antitrust, open networks, and mutual understandings of issues on safety, responsibility, and progress is the only way we're going to build protections across the world. And properly representing all people in the world, connecting up all people in the world to the internet is the only way we do that. We also have teams working on tech for development, science and innovation, looking at health, tech, and social care, and digital government, working on what are the fundamental digital tools of the modern state that enable us to tackle the world's greatest problems. So get in touch with me and our teams all across the world. As I said, we've got a team in the Bay Area now, and I know they're active in the community. So get in touch with Liz Malara, who's our community manager in San Francisco. For me, when I think about responsible tech, I always think about the ways you can get things done in the world. What are the new alliances and coalitions you can build with people who might be more difficult to convince? I think about adapting short-term goals to get to the overall long-term goals. And really, as many speakers have said all throughout the day, holding true to your values and asking the right questions to the right people. So if any of this strikes a chord and you're interested to chat about any of our work program, get in touch or have a look at our work on techpolicy.io. Add us on LinkedIn, Twitter, everything else, and follow our work and just kind of come join our conversations that we're setting up. Really keen to contribute more to the community and be an active part of what is a great mission.
Well, thank you, Max. And we're really psyched to have you as that active participant in this community. And I was especially struck when you were mentioning the Tony Blair Institute and your own involvement in around 20 countries. So I think there's a lot of need for that, but also a lot of people probably wanting to reach out, because that's a lot of conversation in our Slack community of how can we take a real more global approach, because so much of this seems to be on a country by country basis, but tech knows no boundaries. So what do we do right now? We're going to be sharing some of the resources that you mentioned in our live updating document, also in a post-event email that gets sent out to everyone. But I'm just going to take you off screen, and then I'm going to bring up Stephanie to lead our new conversation around the United States of tech. So we're going global. So we're going from England back across the pond here. So thank you, Max.
Thanks, David.
All right, so now let's bring on Stephanie. Hello, Stephanie.
Hi, David. Thanks for having us. Hi, everyone in the audience. My name's Stephanie Rodriguez. I'm the Federal Partnership Director at the Tech Talent Project, which is a small nonprofit that works to increase the ability of the U.S. government to recruit modern technical leaders into critically important roles that are central to the government's ability to deliver services to the American people. And I think as we've all navigated the last year and a half, we've seen firsthand, every single one of us, what that really means in terms of service delivery. I'm at Tech Talent Project. We are proud co-chairs of a collective community called the United States of Technologists, or US of Tech. Tech Talent Project and AnitaB.org co-chair this community. But what it really is a collective of over 45 entities that are really focused on together working to bring a diverse group of 10,000 technologists into the public sector across state, local, and federal government. And together, as stakeholders from all of these different community groups and organizations, we stand as a united voice in advancing the government's tech talent workforce. And so we're really excited to have US of Tech have been invited to the Responsible Tech Summit, because we think that this is a great opportunity for members of our collective to share about specific opportunities for you all to get engaged in their resources and programs. So I think, first of all, I'll say, anyone who's tuning in right now, please visit the US of Tech website, usoftech.org, where you can find more details about the organizations who will be presenting today, as well as the other organizations that we didn't have time to spotlight in these 10 minutes. And you can also sign up for the US of Tech mailing list, where you can receive monthly updates on resources and opportunities to get engaged in the intersection of technology and government. But today, I'm super excited to invite some of my friends from US of Tech to share more about their organizations. And so without further ado, I'm going to kick it over to Robbie Ross from All Hands.
All right, and I'll start bringing on everyone. You have the collective. Like I said, this is a super group, so I am going to. This is where we need some music. I do think it's that time right now where we need some music in the event. But I'm going to jump off, and then so we can hear from the incredible work that's being done by your collective.
All right, thanks, David. So I'll kick it over to Robbie.
Thank you, Stephanie, and hi, everyone. Glad to be here today with all of you alongside these fine pals. My name is Robbie Ross, pronouns he, him, and I run partnerships at All Hands, a project of Cultivate. By way of context, the work we do at All Hands, alongside some of the other critical initiatives you've already heard about today, is dedicated to broadening the funnel of high caliber technical talent entering the social impact and civic engagement sector. If you take nothing else away from these quick 2 minutes, let it be that there is a true wealth of opportunities applying engineering, product, data, and other tech aptitudes to the ever important project of building a more open, just, and genuinely inclusive society. If you're at the point, like some of us, where you see the world burning around you, often these days, literally, and want to explore building your career and your day job around addressing some of those issues more intentionally, there are some very real potential pathways to do so. Here at All Hands, we've aggregated over 200 mission-driven employers, everything from nonprofits and issue advocacy organizations to unions, social enterprise, and government agencies. And these organizations are doing lots of important work, building platforms to make it easier for incarcerated people to access pro bono legal resources, or using aggregated data to better understand the impacts of climate change at hyperlocal levels, and then translating that into policy initiatives. In many cases, these organizations are fueling the foundation of progressive political campaigning each election cycle, everything from accelerating voter turnout and engagement to supporting actual campaigns. If you care deeply about issues like racial justice, economic inequality, access to reproductive health care, or even simply making government services more accessible for its citizens, there's a way to translate that passion into your work. We've currently got over 1,000 opportunities at these organizations broadcasted for free on our jobs board. And if you're a mission-driven job seeker who joins All Hands, we'll also actively work to matchmake you wherever we see a fit across our partners. But whether or not you're job seeking right now or want to join All Hands officially, if this has piqued your interest in any way, we hope you'll continue to explore the possibility of shifting into the social impact and civic engagement sector more full-time, because we need all the help we can get. I think that's all, Steph.
That's awesome. Thanks, Robbie. So I'll just repeat that call to action there because there's going to be a lot of these floating around. But if you're interested in learning more about what Robbie just shared, their job board and opportunities to connect around social impact, check them out at the link in the chat. Next up, I'm really pleased to introduce Ariana Soto from Coding It Forward.
Hi there. Thank you so much, Stephanie. Hi, everyone. I'm Ariana Soto. I'm Coding It Forward's Director of Strategic Initiatives and super excited. I will reiterate what Robbie said. Super excited to be here with all of these pals doing incredible work. But Coding It Forward, quickly, is a nonprofit by and for young people. And our team is creating new opportunities and pathways into social impact and civic technology. We were founded in 2017 by a group of college students who were looking for opportunities to serve with their skills and have since grown to a community of well over 8,000 young people, getting pretty close to 9,000 and counting across a number of different platforms and groups that we host. But our two bread and butter opportunities are two internship programs for early career technologists across four main project areas: design, data science, software engineering, and product management. And I will say that our interns will wear many, many hats. So you might be doing something for product management, but you might also be dipping your toes in software engineering. And our interns come from across a number of backgrounds. So you don't have to be a computer science major to do our programs. We've had English majors and our history majors and everything in between. But our two main programs are the Civic Digital Fellowship, which is a 10-week summer internship for undergraduate and graduate students in the federal government. And our newest program, the Civic Innovation Corps, is a 10-week summer internship for undergrads, graduate students, boot camp, and certificate grads to serve with their skills in the state and local government offices across the country. So we've been running the Civic Digital Fellowship at the federal level since 2017, and just this summer launched our state and local initiative. So really excited to be bringing young people into all levels of government. Applications for both our programs will open this winter, so stay tuned for that. to be the first to know when our applications open and to be a part of our community in general, please subscribe to our newsletter. I'll be sure to drop the link in the chat. You can also find it on our website and in the live doc that Rebecca has shared. We're also on all major social media platforms, so find us there. All our handles are at Coding It Forward. We're always sharing jobs, internships, opportunities outside of our own, and just championing the work of all the other people in the space. So we'd love to have you in our community. That's it for me.
Thanks, Ariana. So I'll just restate that call to action, which is be sure to sign up for their newsletter so you can be the first to learn about when their early career internships open up. Very exciting. And I think you guys had one of the biggest years you've had in terms of cohort size this past summer, which is super exciting. The next up, I'm very excited to introduce Michelle Skoor of Bitwise Industries.
Thanks, Stephanie. Echoing everybody, really happy to be here today on the panel with US of Tech, and also just listen to the incredible panelists that have been speaking all morning and watching folks collaborate in the space. So Michelle Skoor, Chief Workforce Officer with Bitwise Industries, pronouns are they, them. And at Bitwise, we help to partner and build tech economies in underestimated cities across the United States. A lot of our work centers on training intentionally marginalized communities and readying folks for employment in the tech sector. Our curriculum doesn't come from textbooks. It comes directly from those who are in the industry practicing. So working with senior technologists who are teaching you hands-on on client projects that we have in our Bitwise ecosystem. A large portion of those are centering around government work. So our apprentices in the last year have had exciting opportunities to work and build modern digital government programs with the state of Colorado, with the state of California, and 12 other states in the United States to build a COVID emergency response platform where it's connecting individuals with resources in life resource space, training and upskilling programs, and also job opportunities. We've also launched in one of the cities in California an innovation lab driven entirely by apprentices, helping that city's economy get ready for digital literacy and digital advocacy programs in partnership with the city and state. Our apprenticeship program is a paid learning program. We believe in paying people to learn along the way. And we do that by helping folks via alternative career pathways, really reaching into the communities that I mentioned that have been overlooked and building a bridge to allow them entry into training opportunities that will get them employment in the tech sector that allows for the social impact on the government projects that were discussed here and that many of my colleagues had discussed on the panel. So I think Stephanie's going to drop the link about how to learn more about our apprentice programs, and happy to answer any questions in the chat. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Michelle. So I'll just repeat that back to everybody. If you are someone you know is interested in a learn, earn, and grow apprenticeship opportunity to serve critical functions at the state and local level, please check out Bitwise Apprenticeship Program at the link in the chat. And finally, we have last but certainly not least, Brittany Moore from the Partnership for Public Service. Brittany, over to you.
Thanks, Stephanie. Hi, everyone. My name is Brittany Moore, and I'm a manager on the federal workforce team at the Partnership for Public Service. I'm also the program manager for the Cybersecurity Talent Initiative, a cross-sector program aimed at recruiting and training entry-level cybersecurity talent. Program participants work at a federal agency for 2 years before transitioning to positions with one of our private sector companies at Microsoft, MasterCard, and Workday. Our program fellows are eligible to receive up to $75,000 in student loan assistance, leadership development training, technical training from CyberVista, and formal mentorship. For more information and to apply for the Cybersecurity Talent Initiative, visit cybertalentinitiative.org by November 5th. Thanks so much.
Great. Thanks, Brittany. I really want to reiterate that November 5th deadline. If you are an early career technologist who's interested in serving in a cybersecurity role in government, having the possibility to have loan repayment and other amazing perks, you definitely have to check out the Cybersecurity Talent Initiative link in the chat. So that was just a sort of flavor of what the members of US of Tech are up to, please, please, please check out these opportunities at the links in the chat, but don't forget to sign up for the US of Tech newsletter so you can stay up to date and explore our website to hear and find out more about what other members of US of Tech are up to and the opportunities and resources they have for you to get involved. So that's us.
All right. Thank you, Stephanie. Amazing, amazing panel. Get involved. See those resources. I'm just going to pick up the pace a little bit so we can bring on our 2 final presentations for the organization. So again, thank you to Robbie, Brittany, Ariana, and Michelle, and Stephanie. So I'm just going to take you all off of the stream. And then we're going to bring on Justin Hendrix of Tech Policy Press.
David, can you hear me all right?
All right.
How are you?
I can hear you. You're coming in clear. You sound really good. So I'm going to just jump off a screen to let you talk about some of the incredible work that you're doing, especially around these larger conversations of the impact of technology and all these different disciplines that you get to have involved with the nonprofit that you run. So I'm going to jump off a screen and Justin, let you take it from here.
Well, thank you, David. And I'll just say congratulations to you. Thanks so much for this event. I've enjoyed the parts of it that I've been able to be part of today. And thank you to Rebecca, who I see is adding resources even as we speak to the stream of comments that are coming through. And just want to applaud the community that you've built in a short time. I know how much work it's been. I'll just give a quick background on myself and Tech Policy Press. I come out of a background in media and in technology, went to school in Virginia, moved to New York a little more than 20 years ago, got a job at The Economist magazine for a bit, was there for about a dozen years, doing a bunch of different things around innovation in media, ended up getting very interested in tech, went back and got a graduate degree, and ended up running an entity called New York City Media Lab for about 8 years, which is a consortium of universities and media companies focused on emerging media technology. While I was there, I got very interested in the problems at the intersection of tech and society. Jumping off point, of course, was concerns around disinformation, the health of journalism, and a range of issues in that regard. Started teaching a course with a broad variety of faculty at Cornell Tech, Columbia, CUNY, the New School, and of course NYU, called Tech, Media, and Democracy, and really narrowing in on those issues at that intersection. And about a year ago, left the Media Lab and took on a research project at NYU's Tannen School of Engineering focused on disinformation, and still teaching the course, of course. And that gave me some time to start this new venture, which is called Tech Policy Press. And the idea is it's a kind of hybrid media community venture that looks at the intersection of tech and democracy, tries to advance ideas and build community among people who are concerned about tech policy issues, both in industry, in government, and civil society. So if you go to techpolicy.press, you can kind of see a little bit about what we're doing there. I have a co-founder named Brian Jones, who's based in Texas, and an expert masthead, which you can check out there on the About page, learn a little bit more about what we're doing. And you'll see the areas of editorial concentration. We're looking at things like concentration of power, so how the tech platforms, government, and other aspects of the private sector and the public sector interact to create the public sphere, the geopolitics of technology, so how nation states approach technology in the pursuit of advantage and their citizens' interests. And the fellow from the Tony Blair Institute was kind of getting on to some of the issues we're facing now with regard to kind of techno-authoritarianism around the world at the moment, technology in the economy, concerns about racism, bigotry, violence, oppression, so how tech exacerbates or can be used to potentially solve such challenges, ethics of technology, election integrity and participation, all issues that those in this group are well familiar with, and we've heard some mention of already today. So what there is now at Tech Policy Press is a publication, a podcast, a newsletter, and a kind of burgeoning community. I would urge you, if you are interested in getting involved, certainly sign up for the newsletter at techpolicy.press. We have an event which is coming up on reconciling social media and democracy I'll put the registration link there in the chat if you are interested in that. It's on October 7th, and some interesting people will be talking about how to kind of reimagine social media, make it more interoperable, unbundle its different aspects in order to kind of reduce the size of the platforms and possibly shake up how things work and create some new opportunity. I am also inviting folks from this community to consider pitching pieces. We rely on contributor contributions, and the guidelines on that are here. We don't take every piece that we're pitched, but I'd love to hear from you and hear from your groups, especially when you have news, of course, when you have new ideas, analysis, information that you'd like to share. I would really encourage you to get in touch about that. And then more generally, I just hope you'll kind of add techpolicy.press to your radar. We are on Twitter at Tech Policy Press. You can find us there. There's a podcast that comes out once a week if you like that kind of thing. And then I'll also mention, this is a pretty new nonprofit venture. We're a 501c3 in the process now of raising some money, open for business for folks who are going after grants, who are looking for partners, possibly media partner in the activity that you're doing here. I wouldn't say that at most conferences, but at this one, it seems like there's so many like-minded organizations and entrepreneurial spirits that it makes sense to do so. I'm very grateful to David for letting me tell you all about Tech Policy Press today, and I look forward to talking with you all further in the future.
Justin, that was amazing and exactly on time. So you are a pro, as we all know. And as you mentioned, certainly a lot of very active people in this community. I'm following chat, but I know just from being involved in this space and just knowing who is congregating at our Responsible Tech Summit, we have over 1,200 registrations today. And I know so many people want to get involved. They want to write these think pieces. They want to look to collaborate. So everyone, reach out to Justin and see how you can get involved and move this conversation forward. I think that's one of the commonalities, the themes that's really been building today, is that we need to have this conversation around how can we tackle a lot of these very difficult tech and society issues. So thank you for all of your pioneering work in this space. So Justin, I'm going to take you off screen right now, but everyone, please stay in touch. And next I'll bring up Marissa, so welcome to the Responsible Tech Summit.
Hey, David. Thanks so much for having me. Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly.
Wonderful.
Fine.
That's my own pet peeve, is that can you hear me part of virtual events? So
can you hear me now, right? I mean, I don't know if we have to pay a nickel for that advertisement, but they ended that a few years ago. But I'm going to just drop off screen so you can just talk about some of the incredible work that you're doing.
awesome. Thank you so much, David, and the rest of the team at the Responsible Tech Summit. Thank you all so much for having me. My name is Marissa Levine. My pronouns are she, her, and I have the honor and privilege of being the Director of Events and Community Partnerships for the Presidential Innovation Fellows. And similar but a bit different to the organizations that presented before, we are inside of government as opposed to being government adjacent. And Presidential Innovation Fellows sits in, prepare for government acronyms, the General Services Administration, and beneath that, the Technology Transformation Services, or TTS. And we were a program that was founded by the White House's Office of Science and Technology Policy back in 2012 to attract top innovators into government, folks who were capable of tackling issues at the convergence of technology, policy, and process. You may have seen us work on things like healthcare.gov or on the cover of Time magazine back in 2012. And as the program formalized, we moved over to the General Services Administration, which is a home for both IT and, interestingly enough, buildings. We are part of the infrastructure of the federal government and the United States. And GSA is where we live now. We were signed into law by President Obama in a pretty fun story called the Talent Act, which codified our program into existence permanently. And as of October 2020, we've recruited more than 190 fellows who have worked in more than 45 agencies. But what does that mean? What does that mean, work in agencies, partner, on innovation in government? We bring in mid to senior career technologists who are actually embedded into agencies across government as senior advisors and entrepreneurs in residence, working on technology and innovation challenges. A bit like, if you can't hire us out of the box, PIFs are the way to go. We're kind of a unique blend of skills and background and passion for civic tech and tech for good for the American public, and come into agencies to help tackle really sticky problems. They may be early problems, helping to figure out what is the problem exactly, or it may be later on and thinking about user research. It may be into product, it may be into all kinds of spaces. And so with our agency partners, we're working on building a resilient government. And our fellows are not tech saviors. We are here to co-create stronger public services using data science, design, engineering, product, and systems thinking. And bigger than technology is the people. The people are the most important part. Again, PIFs are passionate about tech for good, solving complex challenges at large scale. The folks that we bring on understand and have demonstrated how to uncover problems, prototype solutions, gather support from complex orgs, and scale solutions. All things that you bring in from the private sector. And we really see the value of the cross collaboration of bringing folks from private into public and public into private. And we also really pride ourselves on creating an inclusive environment where folks can bring their full and authentic selves, where we bring all voices and lived experiences to the table. But the nitty gritty, how does PIF work? We hire fellows annually. We're actually in the process of interviewing right now for folks who will start in 2022. And for folks who are interested, I think Rebecca's going to drop a link in for me. We expect applications to open in early 2022 for the following winter or fall start of 2022 or 2023. And definitely encourage you to get on our email list so that you can keep up to date on applications and events that we do. And we seek professionals in AI and data science, software and engineering, design, product, and digital strategy. You might be wondering, how's the pay if you're coming from private sector into public sector? We hire fellows for a 1-year term with an opportunity to renew for a second year. You may hear it called a tour of duty in government civic tech service at the GS-15 Step 1 level. GS-15, for folks not familiar with government, is the general schedule hiring scale. And it's a really helpful and very transparent way to see how folks at different levels are paid in government. With folks who are at the GS-15 Step 1 based in DC, that salary is currently $144,000. As part of our recruitment cycle, we host lots of panels with current and alumni PIFs, as well as with our talent team. We know applying for government jobs probably seems really challenging to folks. We're not as easy necessarily as clicking on a link on Indeed or LinkedIn. And we really seek to demystify the federal hiring process to make it as accessible as possible for everybody. So on that front, really encourage you to get on that list. I can talk a little bit about some of the projects that we do, but also want to make sure to shout out a new sibling program that just launched at TTS called US Digital Core. Thanks, Allie, for the shout out. We love Allie Brandenberger. While the PIF program is focused on mid to senior career talent, TTS recently launched an amazing new initiative focused on early career technologists called the US Digital Core. And one of the co-founders, Chris Kwang, is in the chat. Early career technologists are often unclear about how to apply for and access career opportunities in the federal government. Some slightly scary statistics. Currently, only 3% of the federal technology workforce is under the age of 30, and only a quarter are women. So the US Digital Core's goal is to ease access to federal roles and bring awareness through a 2-year program that will recruit and support early career technologists so that they can launch impactful careers in public service and create a more equitable and effective government. Applications for this program for early career folks will open this fall, and we will be recruiting prospective fellows from colleges and universities, certification and apprenticeship programs, boot camps, and other programs for folks reskilling into technology careers, including our military veterans. I think Rebecca will also drop a link to US Digital Core in here, and I know that there are some info sessions coming up. That'll open this fall with about 30 fellows expected to begin work in FY22 at more than 5 agencies across the government. And US Digital Core is strongly committed to diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility in every aspect of the program, including in outreach, selection, and recruitment, as well as in ensuring financial accessibility for all with a competitive salary and benefits, similar to what I spoke about with Presidential Innovation Fellows. So we are really excited. And I, of course, in 10 minutes can't get to everything, but I would strongly encourage folks to consider not just looking at tech, at government adjacent civic tech, but coming into government itself. It is a fascinating place to learn from incredibly talented people, whether it's in your cohorts at places like Presidential Innovation Fellows or at the US Digital Core, or with the agency partners who are often career civil servants, experts in their spaces across the dozens of agencies that we get to work with, and are really the heart and soul of the innovative work that we are privileged to partner with them on as we look to provide the best government services for folks across the country. And I'll give you a few examples just to circle back of some neat work that PIFs have done. We can drop our impact report into the chat so that you can see a little bit more about what PIFs have done in the last year. But We've done everything from launching telehealth.hhs.gov to operationalizing customer experience cross-agency to using machine learning to deliver benefits faster to veterans. Currently, we've got folks who are data science leaders at Department of State thinking about uniting human values and empirical data to understand the world and carry messages across boundaries. Pretty important right now. We've got a Piff over at the U.S. Department of Labor ensuring HR-related AI tools aren't unintentionally biased against job seekers with disabilities. You'll start to see some of the themes of responsible tech come through in our projects. We're also thinking about how to address AI transparency at National Institute of Standards and Technologies, developing frameworks to address transparency, including measurements to quantify, reduce, or eliminate bias. And that's just a handful. So please feel free to find myself or Chris or other folks in this space. We've got other sibling teams like 18F and Centers of Excellence and the Solutions team over at Technology Transformation Services, as well as folks across government. And we want you. So please join us to learn more about these. We would love to hear about what motivates you to bring responsible technology to the American people. And thanks so much to David and the team for having us.
Well, thank you, Marissa, and such valuable work as we're seeing so many people mentioning the power of public interest technology, and specifically some of the wonderful work that you're doing at Presidential Innovation Fellows. And as you also mentioned, Rebecca is sharing those resources. So do apply, do get involved. Government is only as good as we are, and we have a lot of talent that we see, and we're looking to kind of embed that to, again, co-create a better tech future. So Marissa, I'm going to drop you off screen, but don't be a stranger. Please stay in touch, obviously, as you are on our Slack and other places. So reach out to Marissa, find out more, and get involved. That's really the overall theme of the day. Is there's a big, vibrant community, a lot of passionate people across civil society, government, academia, and industry. And Marissa, thank you for all of your leadership in this space.
Thanks for convening us, David. Enjoy the rest of the conference, y'all.